most leaders think that there's a larger number of people in the organization who don't want to come along for the journey. They don't want to change. They don't want to learn, and so on. So whereas the same people in the organization, when you ask them, are actually quite willing to do so. So there seems to be a gap between what leadership often thinks is possible and what actually the people they actually have, which is just another thing. Yeah.
I think for leaders, it's a nice cop out to say, "Oh, people don't want to change, so we don't either." So it's the easiest thing for the leader to say is, "Oh, they don't want to change, so I can't really do it, and so it's too hard. Leave it alone." I think the interesting thing that I hear from that example that you gave is that the key to, I believe, what you did is you didn't go in there and tell them what to do. You went in there and helped them find the way for themselves. And it's when they find the way for themselves, they find the enlightenment from that journey and talking with customers and doing it. You didn't come in and consult and tell them what here's the answer. You came in and said, let's find the answer together, and facilitated it out of them, which is exactly what I do with teams as well, is you have to facilitate. They have to, for them to own it, they have to be involved in it. You can't sort of give it to them and say, here, go do it. They have to sort of have that buy-in and involvement in it. So totally agree.
So somewhere in the book you say your teams will test you. Can you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, I think the key is people don't. It doesn't matter what you do, what you say. It matters what you do, right? So your actions speak louder than your words. So and to the point made earlier, if you've got when you launch, and this was around the context of launching a purpose to an organization, as I said, the first thing most of the people in the organization are going to do is going to go, okay, well, this is all very nice. Now tell me what it means. So how does it mean to what I do? And the first thing they do is test you on decision making, right? So they need to understand that you are going to make decisions based on that purpose from now on. So they're going to test or want to see your resolve to do that. If you can't be a purpose-driven culture if it's optional whether you make decisions based on it. If you are now creating a purpose-driven culture, that is now the way you just make decisions, and that's it. Decisions are now made that way from this point in time on, and that's the test that the people are going to wait for to make sure that what you say and what you do are the same thing. Because it's different from what's come before. And they also, at that point of launching something like a new purpose, and this is the way we want to go forward, people don't know how right then and there. So they're they go, okay, I get it. So there'll be some part of the group, maybe that 30% are going to go, Jesus, I love this. I can't wait. I'm on board. Where do we go? Where do we go next? And then there's the group is going to go, okay, yeah. So the next time quarterly targets comes up, what's going to happen then? It's just going to go back to the same old. And so the test is, decisions need to be made around that purpose, and that's going to be tested by your teams. And if you don't do it well, what you ultimately do is your teams will not trust the leadership because you decide when you want to use the purpose, and then it becomes generally a weapon of mass destruction instead of something that really helps the organization to move forward. Yeah. So it is really important, and that's why part of the job of a leader is to have some courage around that. They have conviction around what they believe is right, and where that maybe in the short term there may be a decision which looks in hindsight to be to be counter to what's happened before. You've got to have that courage to go, no, there's got to be a better way. And part of the other challenge that I've had to face myself is that if we want to stay true to our purpose, we have to find a different way than the way that everybody else does this, because it doesn't work for us anymore. And challenging the organization and your teams to do that, they'll come back with the answer. And they'll be excited and energized by the fact that you go, we won't accept doing it the old way because the old way sucked. And we've got to find a better way, actually enlightens and empowers people to go, shit, okay, let's go away and work out how we do that. And they'll definitely come up with something that'll be far more innovative, exciting, and far better solution. And I've done it before, and we've changed the game with products that were not as good as weren't the best in the market, and we beat everybody in the market because we looked at the market differently and we challenged ourselves to find better ways to do things. It is totally the key.